excited to have Rebecca Shine here with us tonight. Woo! Today, this morning. She's really amazing. She worked at Red Bull for 8 years, and she's a great small biz consultant. So I'm going to let Rebecca talk a little bit more about that, but I'll let Ramon take it away.
Can we give a resounding Super Bowl type round of applause to Annie and the Wix team? And also, please remember, we want this to be a social event, not just for the sake of being social, but the more you Instagram, tweet, and Facebook, that means we all retweet each other, and you can share with other people, because if you don't do that, you're being selfish, and that's not good. So I think we want to use @Wix.
Yeah, hashtag Wix events.
Hashtag Wix event. If you don't know what the hashtag is, come to the next event, we'll tell you. And before we begin, just also as a few things, I'm Ramon from Infusionsoft. Infusionsoft is sales and marketing software for small businesses, and I have a couple things to give away. So normally I don't do that, but it's the new year, so we're going to do it. So I have this awesome work plan to give away. If you don't know what it is, well, just, you want it, trust me. It's an awesome plan for marketing, which may touch on the things Rebecca and I will say. And Merry Christmas or Happy Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate. And this is a copy of my book that I'm going to give away, The Facebook Guide to Small Business Marketing. And we'll raffle that off and give that away. And Seth Godin's new book, which is called What to Do When It's Your Turn. And it talks about being a disruptor, causing a ruckus. We're going to give that away. And there's copies of a magazine that I just launched as well, which I'm going to give away. You can subscribe to it as well. How do you get these things? After the event, you will see a big smile on Sandy and Annie's face. Don't stay here. Go to the back of the room and talk to Rebecca. You're going to be mobbed. Go to the back of the room, put your cards somewhere. Leon, can I leave that to you? Can you mind just being able to give it to him? We'll raffle it off and give this stuff away. Sound good? Okay, great. So, let us begin. Welcome, Rebecca.
Hi.
So first, you grab your mic, Rebecca. First, let's start off. Tell us a bit about who you are, what your background is, what you're doing today.
Okay, so I'm Rebecca Shine, and my company is NY Shine. I'm a marketing consultant, and my background is started long ago when I spent 8 years at Red Bull in the UK, in London. Straight out of university, it was pretty much, Red Bull was the first job that I landed, and I started off in the sales team, spent a year literally selling Red Bull into bars and clubs and festivals. But the most amazing thing about Red Bull is that when you first start working there, you realize it's not so much just a product in a little can. They give you an induction that lasts about 2 weeks, where they take you away to a hotel, and I'm sure they still do this, and they explain everything about the brand and how it was built, and just make sure that you can live and breathe it, and that you understand the whole culture of the company, I guess, so that you know what you're getting into. So I remember one of the first stories they ever told was that how Red Bull was originally a pharmaceutical product that was given to a guy who worked for Procter & Gamble when he got off the plane in Thailand for a business meeting, and he was given it in a little bottle that was called Kreton Dang, which is the Thai for Red Bull, and he was told to drink it because it would make sure that he would get through his meetings, and that he would manage to stay up, until the evening, and that he wouldn't be hit by jet lag. And that guy was Dietrich, who was the who owned Red Bull at the time and still does. So this one guy, from an experience he had getting off a plane in Thailand, given this little bottle of Kreton Dang, he decided then and there, probably within the space of his business meeting, that he wanted to repackage and formulate it for the Western world, for the Western market.
I can't help but interrupt.
Yeah?
Is it like little bottle, pharmaceutical in Thailand sound powerful? Just those three things?
It does. Well, it's like, yeah, it's just,
which is what Red Bull is.
It is, yeah. It was a little, literally very syrupy drink that you can still get if you go to Asia, any of Southeast Asian countries. You can still get this little bottle form, which is why I think in some of the corner stores here you get the 8-hour energy, because it'll be off the back of that little bottle. So, yeah, he repackaged and reformulated it for the Western market, and that's what it's known as today, Red Bull. And I think he knew from the very beginning that it had to have a powerful story behind it that was beyond him it wasn't just about him getting off a plane, but that what was it going to stand for. And I think the minute that I started at Red Bull, and there's a group of about 20 of us started at the same time, and they explained the culture and the ethos, it was all about not just that this little this drink can keep you up and, you know, keep you energized and keep you focused. But if you're a professional, if you're an athlete, if you're, you know, whatever it is you're doing in life, it's an aspirational product. And I think that was, working for Red Bull was the first time that I really understood that a brand isn't just about a product that you use or something that you need. It's about telling you that you can be something, you know, all these athletes that use it and you see them, this is the kind of lifestyle that they lead, and it's giving you these aspirations in life, and rather than just something that works and something that you're told to use and buy into. So they were very exciting first years at Red Bull. I worked on in the marketing department after sales in festivals and events, with nightclubs and bars, and it was like a roller coaster ride, just from the day job to the culture behind the scenes, in terms of literally 1 minute you're working, the next minute you're sitting in a club, or you're being told, right, you're going to go skiing for 2 days and take customers skiing. So the whole work-life balance was either, you could either see it as being 100% there or 100% not there, because it kind of just faded into one life, basically. So just a very inspirational place to be, and to start understanding what brands are about and the difference between a brand and a product, really. Yeah.
And that's a good jumping off point. Thank you. And let's quickly shout out maybe 5 people. Can you shout out what you're selling? We don't care about your name and your company right now, but just so we understand who's here. What are you selling, and what are you solving in 1 or 2 words?
Public relations.
Public relations. I hear cars. No. Public relations. Bicycles. Graphic design. Good. Legal services. Unity. Improv workshops. Great. So we have a variety of people here with products and services. So Rebecca, the big question of today, it's on the headline here, it's about branding. And we've talked about this in time, but can you help us understand, you mentioned Red Bull as a brand. What is the difference between someone here selling their legal services or their products or whatever it may be as a product or service, selling it as we're trying to do every day, versus this aspect of brand? Help us in summary define what that is, and especially what we can learn from Red Bull as far as brand. What is that?
Okay, well,
that's $1 million question.
Yeah. I think the way I see brand, and probably a lot of other people who've worked on big, strong brands see it, is that a brand is a differentiator. So you might be doing PR, you might be an attorney, you might be selling bicycles, but what is it that differentiates you? Because if you don't have a brand, then you're a commodity, you're just a dime a dozen, you're one of 100 other companies out there selling the same thing. So if you're going to differentiate yourself, how do you do that? It could be on price, that could be the point of difference, but you get to the point where if it's price or geographical location, there's not that many ways you can differentiate yourself until you start building a brand. And a brand is 3-dimensional. It's about a personality, it's about values, it's about lifestyle, it's about belief systems. So it's almost like taking this product or service you have and creating a person out of it, and trying to work out what are their ethics, what do they believe in, and what is it that you're offering above and beyond what anyone else is offering that's out there. And the difference as well between a brand and just a product or a service is that you can trademark a brand. You can't trademark just a random product, service, or an idea. But if you have a brand that has all these different messages, and it sits in a specific place in people's minds, and they can identify it because of the way you talk about it and the way the copy is written on the website, and then it goes back to the logo and all the creative aspects, everything the aesthetic that identifies this brand and all its belief systems and values, then that starts to be something that you can own and that nobody else can copy. So a product or a service, somebody can copy it, and people always say, oh no, I don't want, I need to get to market quickly because somebody might copy my idea. If you have a really strong brand behind you, then nobody can really copy it, because that comes from inside, that's something you believe in, and whether you're one person or whether you're launching your company with a team of people, all these ideas and belief systems need to be brought out and need to be represented in the brand visually and at every touch point as well, so that whether somebody reads the copy on your website or whether they You know, they look at your logo, they look at your font, your typeface, the layout in your website and your newsletters, the way that you respond on social media, the way that you maybe have an advertising campaign, the kind of language that you use. They come to expect certain things from you, and that all starts with the early questions of who do I want to be, what is this product or service, and what makes me very different from anybody else out there.
And I noticed, Rebecca, that you said logo and all that only once, and you said it last, kind of, you know, it's part of it. And I think that's important because am I right that many times we can get so caught up in our logos and colors? Am I right? Yes? Okay. And so I like that. So you're saying brand is not just about a logo and we're, that's our brand.
It's like the tiniest part. It's the tiniest part because a logo is just a stamp. You know, anyone, you can go on 99logos.com and you can grab a logo, but that doesn't mean anything to anyone. You eventually want to have touch points, and you eventually want to make sure that every touch point that is part of your brand just makes the person, the consumer, the client, the end user feel something. So, you know, for some bigger companies who have money to spend, that could go right through to experiential events. But if you're small and you can't afford to spend that much money, then it should be maybe just in the whole design of your website, the way that you talk, the language that you use. Every touch point should be really well thought out. So, and the logo would be, you know, it's not the last thing that you do, but you don't put all that emphasis on that poor little logo, because that's a lot of pressure for a little design to have to live up to everything that you want your company to be.
How many here have solid brands, do you think you do? Okay, good. Okay. Solid brands, that you know you have a solid brand that is a differentiator in the market. Okay, so a few people. And I bet half of you don't do that, but that's okay. That's no problem. I mean, half will raise their hands. I really don't. So, can I put you in the spot, Rebecca?
Yeah,
say yes.
go
Thank
on.
you. Great. So I just thought of it just now. I know it can be scary, but I'm going to put you in the spot. So we're going to talk about PR, the young lady here, and video, the gentleman right here. Real quick, though, summary. Help these two people. This young lady here has a PR company and marketing, etc. But real short, meaning if you had to help it, brand a PR firm, and I know you don't know her, but just can you make it up if you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. How can she differentiate herself when there are tons of PR companies, tons of marketing firms? What can she do different? Real quick, what, at the top of your head, what would you say?
Based on that.
Okay,
okay, so
I want the juice.
thank you.
well, I was sitting with some insurance people yesterday and trying to work out how they could differentiate themselves in the market. And what we decided after talking for about an hour and a half with them, and it was a joint conclusion, is that it's got to be about your added value. So as a service provider, I think it needs to be about what you can add above and beyond everybody else that's doing PR out there. So it's never going to come across on your business card, because I think that would be quite lengthy, you know, this is what I do above and beyond everyone else, bullet points. So a business card's quite simple. So I suppose for you it would be about always knowing, front of mind, say what are the three things that you do that nobody else out there can do. Maybe it's from your experience, maybe it's your approach, maybe it also includes your pricing a bit. Maybe you work just with small business owners and you're very flexible in your approach. You give them an hour or two's free consultation at first, and then you follow up, and you go above and beyond. You don't just, you know, maybe you don't just work on a monthly retainer for 6 months and that's how I roll. You know, maybe it's your flexibility. It could also be your knowledge and experience. Maybe you bring something to the party that other PR people don't have. So I think it's identifying what's unique to you that you can offer that is really going to get people intrigued and make them want to work with you, and then it's communicating that through other service providers as well. So rather than trying to market yourself to the end user who needs your PR services, who are the like-minded professionals, like marketing people who come across clients who need PR professionals and can say, I think, you know, I want Kashana, is it? I think Kashana should represent you because, you know, she'll go above and beyond. This is how she operates. This is her knowledge base, and it's very particular to your industry. And I think that you're a perfect fit. So I think just the above and the beyond, the added value.
And I think what I pull out of there, if you can't find what differentiates you from someone else, that's a problem. Because oftentimes you go to small business owners and say, "What do you do?" and they do this. Oh, well, stop. Put your shoulders up, damn it, I do this. Okay? So let's go on real quick, time's running out, but I do want to help and give a practical example of how this can work in action. So, video, Stefan, right? Okay, yeah. So Stefan, he's in video. Here's his card if you want to take a quick cheat. But my point is, let's see video. How do we now differentiate ourselves? Just ideas the best you can. Video production and editing is a dime a dozen. As giving it Rebecca time to think here. But video production is a dime a dozen. Everybody does it. You can go on Craigslist, Elance, whatever. How does this gentleman here pop? Make a difference. Why the heck I should hire him?
I think again, it's very similar to what I just said. That what's your added value? What do you do? What is your key differentiator? Do you know what that is? Do you feel like if somebody says, "Why should I hire you?" Do you work specifically with small businesses, or do you look for people at companies that've got larger budgets? And when they come to you, are you automatically able to say, you know, this is what I do, A, B, and C, and this is why you should work with me? And does your website reflect that as well? And the good thing about you is that because you have video as your product, you can automatically show people what you do. So, which is easier than a PR consultant or a marketing consultant. You can kind of show case studies and talk about it. But with you, it's very visual, and people buy into visuals a lot easier than they do if they have to just read through someone's resume or the information on their website. So, I think is the key differentiator that the way that you edit your videos, the way that is it how, you know, your budget, is it the way that the other providers that you work with, maybe you work with other professionals and they add value, but is there anything that you feel stands out for you that you've already pinned down, or is that you're working on it?
After the event, though. Yeah, we got to go.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately. And I think some tips are, as one who hires video production, just getting very practical that you can extrapolate for your own business. Maybe it's speed. You know, I have a friend of mine who says, Ramon, the video may not be the best editing, but if you need it like tomorrow, I don't sleep. I'll do it. So, you know, some people tell me it's going to take a month. I'll be longer than the other guys, but it will look like something came off CNN. So to help us all, there's always ways you can slice and make things different.
Yeah.
Rebecca, I like that you said, and again, I just want to highlight this, like attracts like. Briefly touch on that. I know Seth Godin, and I'm going to give away the book afterwards, talks about that he says, I think it's people like us do this. I could be quoting it wrong, but the principle he's making is, how can you communicate, if you like this or do this, if you get what I'm trying to say, you should come to me. What's my brand? My brand is, I promise there'll be typos. I promise. I promise I will change the tense throughout my copy. That's guaranteed. But I promise it'll be darn energetic and exciting. Those three things you can guarantee. That's just my brand. So if you like perfect, don't hire me. But Dell doesn't like perfect, neither does Microsoft or Verizon Wireless, so they hire me. So,
okay, well, I like your typos there. I feel like mine is, I promise I'll always be a few minutes late. Right. At least today I was really on time. So,
like attract, that's a question.
Yeah, like attracts like. So for me, NY Shine is all about making marketing and branding simple and a step-by-step process, and making it enjoyable and fun along the way. So not detracting from the professional aspect, but fun. And I feel like because I like having fun, probably because of my brand background, working with Red Bull, I like working with people who have fun brands. That doesn't mean that they can't work in insurance or they can't do something that seems quite formal. But I think there's a process that I go through that makes it a fun process and that makes it really simple and breaks down all the barriers and demystifies processes. And I think I try to communicate that on my website. I try to communicate that in any blogs that I write, and at networking events as well, so that eventually the type of people I work with usually end up being the people who are similar to me. So that's what I meant by like attracts like. So whether you're business to business or whether you're business to consumer, I think that your product and your service should attract people who are very similar and who buy into the same belief systems as you and who want the same thing. So that was the like attracts like. If you're fun and energetic and this is who I am, chances are you're going to attract the same people. If you're the person, oh, I don't know what my company's about, then you're probably going to attract those kind of people who lack that energy and that enthusiasm.
And I want to talk about emotional touch points, Rebecca, as well. But to echo this like attracts like, I think, you know, let's say you're fun and energetic, it sounds like a positive. But I think it's important because if you're attracting clients who may not have that charisma that you do, as an example, that can come back to bite you, at least in my experience. Meaning, I'm a morning person, so but I've worked with some people where it's offensive, like, oh, dude, good morning. Oh, it's only 10 o'clock in the morning. I haven't had my coffee yet. I find it difficult to work with them sometimes. Not a bad thing, which is different. I've been at events and I've told people at 6 in the morning, hey, good morning, can you help me with this video thing? Oh, no, not now. We just can't hang. it's not bad, but it's just...
I think that's true, and I think it's good to get to a point where you know pretty soon on whether you're going to gel. And I think if there's an issue, that first thing in the morning issue, there could be signals that there'll be issues further down the line as well. And I think when you're first starting out in business, it's very hard to be to pick and choose, but ideally if you can get to a point where you know who your ideal client is, and that's the kind of person that you enjoy working with, not just because you think, oh, I can't work with other people because we just don't get on, but you're going to give your best work and the best outputs if it's a comfortable relationship. And
let's talk about the emotional touch points. What the heck is an emotional touch point, Rebecca, and why is it so important?
So I think if you're a big brand with a lot of money, it's like Red Bull. It's all these consumer events that they put on, like the Red Bull Air Race, like all the, all the that kind of motorcycling they do, all the, getting the guy to jump out of space with his,
so cool.
Yeah, that was good. And it's funny because people think that, that's Felix Baumgartner, and people think that, oh, that was just a relationship that was dreamed up, but Red Bull have been working with that guy for literally 15, 20 years. So, and I feel like they don't feel like they need to explain that to people, but I heard so many people saying, oh, that was just such a cheap shot. That guy, Felix, has been part of the Red Bull company for decades, like since Red Bull was first dreamt up. So I think emotional touch points can be anything from a big brand experience through to a tweet that you send, and it just means that everything has to be well thought out and go back to your brand values. So once you have got your brand personality and your brand values, your belief system, you could draw up some guidelines that say, okay, any promotions, any social media, this is what I want to achieve, this is the feeling I want to evoke. And it just means that whether that touch point and the emotions can be literally in a one-on-one meeting, or it could be in a big campaign. It could literally be in a Facebook post, or it could be in an event. But it just means that when your client or your end user has that meeting with you, whether it doesn't have to be face-to-face, they can just see something you've written, they automatically feel something. You're telling them something, you're making them aspire to something, and you're just giving them that little bit extra rather than, this is me and I'm out there and come find me. So it's working through your brand values and making sure that they're really apparent in everything that you do, and never doing anything gratuitously, just knowing that the reason I'm posting this on Facebook is because it adds value to my brand, it tells them a bit about me, and they're going to laugh at it, they're going to suck up the information, they're going to use it, it's going to be useful for them. So
no, I love it. And how many of you all have questions? Please tell me you have a lot of questions. Okay, there's one question. Great. So as Andy's coming, I just want to remind you, when we're done today, and we'll be done in about 15, 20 minutes or so, make sure you go to the back of the room to talk to Rebecca. We'll have a lot of giveaways. And Andy, I'm tempted to buy a cheap lunch for one Wix user and Rebecca. I'm tempted to do that. I don't know if anybody wanted or not. Nobody does. Okay. Okay, great. So I think I'm going to put that in the raffle. That is the new year. And one more thing I'll say, just as a point, just as a crystallization of this, is Wix. So we're going to have Q&A now, but I think the Wix Lounge is an example. Every brand has a brand. So those of you who are here, there's a brand of it's simple, easy to use, slightly, not informal is the wrong word, so I don't want to get, Sandy be like, no, Ramon, that's not our keyword, but you get my point what I'm saying. There's a certain feel even to being here, correct?
Community.
Thank you. Your English is awesome. Community. So that's my point. But Andy, come on up, and she'll join the discussion and facilitate our Q&A, and I hope you've learned something.